What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and today I'm going to do an overview video for Madden NFL 06. As you know, the past week or so, I've been going back and forth on some Maddens, and in the last video, I talked about how the camera just wasn't, I didn't like it in Madden 04, but I've been convinced enough and have played enough of 06 to determine that this is the one I'll probably need to stick with. The biggest thing is I'm still going to play NCAA Football 06. That will always be my favorite game. I just needed a bit of a break from it. But to have Madden 06 and NCAA 06 sync with each other, I think makes the most sense for me just to play Madden 06 and try to make a go of it. So in the time, I can see doing like dual series, a connected series where I'm doing a franchise mode and a dynasty mode at the same time, import draft classes, have storylines and such. I think that's a good idea down the road whenever I feel like I'm ready to do something like that. So let's just get right into it. I'm going to just gloss over some features and game modes, and we'll just kind of go from there. Of course, you got play now and stuff. We all know what that is. Let's go straight to game modes. We can't do online anymore just because of how the game, how old it is. But, you got franchise. Now, what I plan on doing with franchise is instead of me, posting several shorter videos over the next week or so on me in practice mode, me doing exhibition, I think the best way for me to learn a game is to kind of do it all at once and not worry too much about the success I may have with it. So I think a good idea is to start a franchise early. Just pick a team. Doesn't matter, and learn the gameplay mechanics, all the little nuances of it, along with all the little things that come with franchise mode. So I'm going to learn both the gameplay and franchise mode at the same time. So that's going to come in short order. I think that's a good idea. So in time, we'll get into all the little bitty franchise things. Now, NFL Superstar, I think this is another good idea for a series down the road. This actually connects with Race for the Heisman in NCAA Football 06. That's another cool thing. That's one thing I've never done with NCAA 06 was do that particular mode, at least for the channel. So I think it'd be pretty cool to do a storyline of Race for the Heisman, get there, and then go right into NFL Superstar. They do connect. It does allow you to import your Heisman winner, if you can win the Heisman, from NCAA 06, which is pretty cool. So expect a series of that sort somewhere down the line. Of course, you got tournament. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll ever use it for the channel. But then you got the mini games. You can look here. Mini camp, this is a good place to practice all your training camp stuff, because at the beginning of every season, you got the training camp drills where you can increase some attributes for some players. Rushing attack and 2-minute drill, we all kind of know what that is. And practice mode, of course, is my favorite mode because that's where you kind of learn your craft. Let's go into features. Create a fan is pretty cool. One day I may do a video on all the little nuances of this thing. There's not a whole lot to it, but you can create a fan. It's just another thing that they added. But, it's there. Now, create a player, it's the same thing. I don't know how much more detailed this is compared to like from NCAA 06. Again, I may do a video on that one day. Create a team. Yes, this would be a good idea to start doing, like, create some NFL teams. There's one little problem with create a team in 06. It's the same way in 04 and some of the other games from what I can find on the Madden side of things. When you select your colors, you can select a default, whatever. Say you select this purple. The problem is I can't get it exactly the numbers for the RGB numbers. It doesn't have the numbers on the right for me to say, hey, this is 148 on blue or 33 on green. It's just not there. It's almost like you have to count all the clicks, and I am not going to do that. So I don't know if I'll ever create a team with this game just because I can't see where I'm at, and I want to get my colors exactly. I guess you can get close, but I want to get super close. And it looks like this game is not going to let me do it. Again, I looked at the later Maddens and the earlier Maddens, and all of them are the same thing. For whatever reason, they just left off the actual numbers beside each one of these three, which is disappointing. But there's a lot of depth in this thing, too. You can create stadiums a whole lot greater detail. So we'll see what happens with all that. But the fact that I can't see those numbers doesn't help things. We can go back, create a playbook. This is the only my biggest downside to going to 06. You know, the biggest reason why I picked 04 at the beginning was that was the last man to let you do all the full functions with create a playbook. You can use them in franchise mode. You can use your custom audibles in franchise mode. Then in 05, you really couldn't use your audibles, but you can at least use your playbook. But in 06, for whatever reason, they just left it out. You cannot use your creative playbook. For example, I have a creative playbook right here, just a test playbook off PBK1. So if I went into franchise mode and try to select that playbook, it's not there. I'm not going to do it because it takes too long to get there. But you get my point. That's not that big of a deal to me. There's plenty of good playbook stuff in this game. There are 38 total offensive playbooks. All of them are very different from one another in formations and concepts. On top of, there are a few other ways to grow your playbooks in a sense, and we'll talk about those here in a minute. You got your rosters. We all know what that is. The same with the historical teams. Now let's go to my Madden. Here's where some things get pretty interesting. This Madden cards, I don't know if I'll ever use it. I don't know if it's something you just earn over time or you can buy. I assume this is something like in the later Madden games where you collect enough of these where you can put your own team together. You know, Chad Johnson and whoever. You can put them to Jake Plummer. You can put them on the same team. I think that's what that is. I don't know. I doubt I'll ever use this for the channel, but you never know. We can go back and let's go to, stat book. We all know what that is. Coach's strategy. Here's a couple of things that are worth looking at. Now, the audibles, it's your basic 5 audibles per playbook. But you actually have more audibles than that. There's actually formation audibles for all of you PS3 NCAA football fans. You know, a couple of those games have formation audibles where you pretty much have 4 extra audibles per formation. You hit square and you hit the right joystick down. It gives you a run play from that formation, which is great. Well, that's in this game as well. The problem is it doesn't tell you which ones they are, nor can you change them. That's still not a big deal. I'm just kind of glad it's in here. So I may have to track those later on to see exactly what those are. But that's cool that they're in there. On top of that, formation shifts. Somebody's going to have to tell me what this does. I cannot figure out, we'll go single back out of Chicago's playbook. Here are 4 formations from single back for Chicago. And for the life of me, it doesn't tell me how to do anything. It doesn't let me do anything. So I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm doing something wrong, but as you can tell, you have not much options to work with. Anyway, I'll figure it out eventually, but it's there if you wanted it. We can back out. Got to save the profile. Go back here, and we will go to practice mode at the very end, and I'll talk about a couple things about some of the audible stuff. Gameplay settings. Here's the other big thing. I played Madden 07, what was it, about a year ago? It might have been that long. I got into it something, I got out of it. A lot of it was that vision cone thing, but I kind of figured out that the vision cone's not all that bad once you figure out a couple different things, and I'll talk about that in practice mode. But at least, if for whatever reason I play enough of the vision cone and I just still don't like it, whatever reason that may be, at least on all Madden, which is the hardest level, I could turn the vision cone off still. And in 07, you can't. So that's another little small, advantage to 06, I guess, because this was the first game they introduced the vision cone. One cool thing at the very bottom, and this was in 07 as well, the accelerated clock. This could be kind of useful in certain parts of a game where we kind of know that it's a blowout or what have you, but it's neat that it's in there. I thought this was interesting. The fair play, you could turn off, or turn on limited onside kicks and going forward on 4th down, 2-point conversions, no huddle penalty. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know if I'll ever fool with them, but they're there. Custom game, here is QB vision. Again, you saw it earlier. I was on all Madden, but I could turn it off or on. So for whatever reason, I just don't like it. I gave it enough of a try. It just wasn't my thing. I can still turn it off and still play on the hardest level, which is good. Auto pass, I'm glad that is off. That means, a lot of times as a quarterback, when you're passing, at least I do this, I manually control the quarterback. I take the joystick, I move it back, and I'll do my 5-7 step drop. A lot of times it could be like a 15 step drop that if you keep going back far enough. But if you don't do that, the game automatically does the exact drop back for that specific play. So you don't ever actually have to do that yourself. Well, the auto pass means the game will not pass for you. So that they kind of go together, which is really nice. That's not NCAA Football 06. I wish it was. Penalty AI, we all kind of know what that is. Controller layouts. Here's another thing we're going to talk about in practice mode is playmaker routes. This is the other thing that's going to make the playbooks a lot more stout is you can customize hot routes and such, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But especially with the playmaker routes, your playmaker route, your playmaker is the guy who's an orange. His route is an orange, and you could change the playmaker on the fly, and then you could change his audible or his hot routes to go with it. So that just gives you a ton of options. And I'm not mistaken, I thought I saw that somewhere. Unless I just completely missed it. Let me go back here really quick. I thought it was under here. Oh, there it is. My bad. I just skipped over these two. Custom hot routes. Here we go. This is something I know I'm going to play a lot with. Here are your default hot routes, but you have technically like 20 of them to work with. So I can get pretty used to these kind of quick. Like, if for whatever reason, if I wanted to create my own run and shoot playbook, like I said, you can't really create your own playbooks in this game and use them in franchise. But a couple of these routes can be very useful when you're doing run and shoot type stuff. If you're seeing a certain coverage pre-snap, I know I can audible to something specific that's related to the run and shoot or what have you. So I think I'm going to have a whole lot of fun with these. It's just going to take me a while to get the use to see which routes work against what. But still, that option is there, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing around with some of that. So you go back to coach's strategy. Custom packages. We can look at this. This is pretty unique. What this does is you go to shotgun, 4 wide receiver, and I can make any type of sub package I want. Really neat. So if I wanted to go 5 halfbacks or something like that, I mean, I could do that. I mean, I guess there's nothing stopping me. Like, we can go to this wide receiver number 3, and we could change him to halfback number 4. Really cool. So you can get really crafty with the custom packages. So I can see doing some really cool things with that down the road once I kind of figure out what I want to do with it. So a combination of the, custom hot routes, the playmaker stuff, and then you got this stuff right here. Then you got your audibles. Then you got your formation audibles. That's enough customization for me personally to where I don't need the creative playbook feature in order to have a whole lot of fun with this. I think that's going to be enough features tacked on to the current playbooks for me to do some really cool things down the road. So really excited about that right there. We'll get out of here and get out of here. And the rest of it, there's not much else to see. You got Madden tutorials. I may go through these separately. The NFL Superstar, we talked about that earlier, Vision Precision. Let's go into practice mode. And I just want to briefly talk about those few things that we mentioned. Let's go to practice mode. We go the Bengals against the Browns. That's fine. And I'm using a different playbook, but that's okay. So I know I'm kind of glossing over some things, but some things just need its own separate video. But at least I can cover, the more basic and broad topics. So once we go from here, if it'll go to it, there we go. And let's start right here. Now, for example, let's just pick a play out of single back big. Let's go with this play action play, PA flanker clown. And we'll go up against... Here's another cool thing in 06 that it wasn't in 04. This is going to be real big for me in practice mode. This was in 07, but this was... You go on random play, and then you can select man or zone coverage, or just pick only blitz plays. Really cool. But we'll go up against all plays. And as of now, I got my default play that I picked, that PA flanker clown. But when you do the formation audibles, you audible by hitting square. Then you use your right joystick down, right, left, or up. So if I go down, it gives me a basic run play. I don't know what that is. I'm guessing that's like the slam or whatever. Or I go to the left and it gives me the play action play. In this case, it was the play that I had at the beginning. or I can just go up and it gives me, I think this is a quick passing play, and if I go to the right, it gives me a deep play. Really cool. So to say that I'm going to use these is an understatement. Oh, great catch. So when you tack that on top of, you know, we got our orange rat on the left. That's our playmaker. I think I'm supposed to, like, as is, I can just go up. I think I could do it here. There we go. So just the right joystick by itself does the audible or does the hot routes for the playmaker. I can do a hitch. I can do the little shallow. I can do an out. All that good stuff. Pretty cool. But I forgot how to... Oh, you can flip it right there. Okay, but I forgot how to... You can change your playmaker. I just forgot how to do that. But either way, that's pretty cool to see. There was something else I was going to show you and I forgot. It was that. That might have been it. Yes, one other thing. At least this is in the game. We can go to setting or... Let's go to settings. We'll go to gameplay. Maybe it's system. Oh, controller select. That's it. Thankfully, I won't have any camera issues in this game. We'll play on defense. And we'll go up against this. And we'll just pick a basic pass play. Out of the gate, thankfully, everybody backs out and I can go after somebody. So at least I can see pretty much the entire field when the defense is in passing mode and such. That's good. That's all I wanted to see right there. So a combination of all of what I've talked about for the last 15 minutes gives me enough confidence, and in that, I think Madden 06 is the one I just need to stick with. The biggest thing, again, syncing this with NCAA Football 06. I can never give up NCAA Football 06. That will always be my game. I will go back to it eventually. And having them two work together, for the longest time, I felt like that just wasn't a thing I cared about. But now I'm starting to see some of the advantages to that. Especially when you have some series that can work together. It's just going to make a lot of sense. Especially with a couple of the modes that I just really use. The race for the Heisman can sync really well with the NFL Superstar mode. So I'm excited about all that. All the little playbook stuff we just mentioned. Every bit of it. So hopefully you enjoy that. Like I said, the next video or two, I really want to start a franchise and just get right into it. Not worry about trying to, you know, be the best that I can at it, but just kind of learn on the, you know, on the fly with it. Learn the gameplay as I'm playing the games themselves while learning all the little tidbits of franchise, because it's been so many years since I've went knee deep into franchise mode in any of these Madden games. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.